Om Shanti. My name is Cody, and today I'm going to be leading you through a shoulder mobility class, helping you unlock your shoulders so you can use them more effectively for your yoga practices. Om Shanti. In today's class, we're really going to be working through one of the more complex joints of the body, the shoulder joint. And the reason that this becomes very complex is because it's essentially two joints working together. We have the scapula behind the back and then the actual shoulder joint itself. And these two interact to get a lot of mobility, making the shoulder one of the most mobile joints in your body. So to start doing this, for our class today, later on you will need a block and a band of some sort. You can find something at home to work for that, just a towel or something of the like. Even some books would work in place of blocks. If you want, while we're seated, a cushion can be useful to help lift up the hips, or a blanket under the knees when we're going to be on our knees for the majority of class today. So first, starting with our shoulder, our scapular joint, actually. So by lifting the shoulders up, we are moving through elevation, and when we press the shoulders down, we are depressing the shoulder blade. So lifting up as much as it's comfortable and pressing down. Just a few times here to kind of get us used to finding this movement, and also to warm up the shoulder. For our next movement, we're going to bring the hands out in front. I want you to keep the arms straight here while reaching the fingertips as far forward, spreading the shoulder blades away from each other. Keeping the arms straight, pull the shoulder blades together, bringing the shoulder back. Forwards and backwards here. Notice if you're squeezing more on one side versus the other. And then putting both of those movements together, we're going to make circles with the shoulder. Doing a few times in one direction. And then we'll rotate the shoulders the other direction. Try to see if you can feel the shoulder blade moving in this circular pattern. And you can release. So learning how the scapula moves in space really helps us to unlock the shoulder joint. A lot of times you're going to want to pull the shoulder blade back or lift it up in a way to help unlock the shoulder to get the arm in a specific position. So the arm, the shoulder joint, moves in three primary ways. So the first one is going to be lifting the arms up overhead, and then bringing the arm back and behind the body. So this is flexion as we bring it forward, and extension as we bring the arm back. Kind of play through this, working a few times with both arms together, and then playing a little bit with one arm, kind of noticing those points where the shoulder, the arm stops moving. And then playing a little bit with the other arm. And then the next movement is bringing the arms out to the side and then back in and even across. We'll work on that a little bit later. So just up and out. These you can work pretty much together, and they're going to do all that they need to do. You should feel the shoulders blade lifting up and pressing down. Here, the shoulder blade also does a little bit of a tilt as it tilts upwards from the bottom and then tilts back in towards the spine as you come down. And then the last movement that we'll explore exclusively is internal and external rotation of the shoulder joint, or lateral and medial movement. So medial or internal rotation is when the shoulder rotates towards the body, and lateral or external is when the shoulder rotates out. So both of these movements, back and forth. You can play a little bit one or the other. These movements are super goofy, and doing them isolated like this is very strange and not something that we're going to be doing very often. You can also do that with the elbow in line with the shoulder, so rotating down for your internal rotation and rotating back for your external rotation. Playing a little bit here. And on the other side as well. And then coming back through center, releasing the shoulders a little bit. Together, we're just going to keep the arms by the side, roll them forward, up, back, and down. These next few movements are movements that you'll see me doing a lot in my classes, just to help warm up the shoulders and mobilize them. And then we'll go the other direction, rolling them back, up, forward, and down. And then one follows the other, almost like we're swimming backstroke in the shoulders, but leaving the arms out of the equation. And some front stroke. And in your seated position, we'll do a little bit of a side stretch here. So let's land right hand on the ground. We'll reach the left arm up towards the sky, press the hip into the ground, and really reach through the left fingertips here, trying to open up through the shoulder. From here, you're going to bring the arm towards the ear and marry the arm against the ear, and then hinge towards the right side, getting a nice left side body stretch. Inhale as you come back through center and over to the other side. Left hand to the ground, really reach up through the right fingertips, opening up through the shoulder, and hinge over towards the left side. Take some deep breaths here. Continue to reach through the fingertips and press through the right hip. Inhale, coming back through center. You can release legs out in front, kind of move them around a little bit if you need to, and then come into a tabletop position. For a little bit of spinal release, some cat-cows a few times as you inhale for cow and exhale for cat. Back and forth. And then if you want to take any other movements, some side to side, rolling the hips out a little bit. Anything that feels right for you before we continue on with our shoulder movements. And back to your tabletop position. Make sure to land the hands underneath the shoulders. I want you to keep the arms straight here. And we're going to do that press and pull away that we did in the scapula. So by dropping the chest towards the ground, we are retracting the shoulder blade, and then we press away to protract the shoulder blade. So up and down here. If this movement feels relatively easy for you, you're able to keep the arms really straight while you move through the shoulder joint. You can drop the feet back and do the same movement in a plank position just to add more weight onto the shoulders. About 3 more of those. And then release. Releasing with some circles. Here we can bend the elbows some, just kind of rolling the shoulders out a few times in each direction. And then releasing all the way to the ground onto your stomachs. Here we're going to start with both arms reaching up towards the sky. And if you need to, you can bring a blanket under the forehead so you can kind of rest a little bit as we focus on the shoulder joint. You're going to lift the arms up overhead, drop them back down to the ground, and then send them out to the sides a little bit. Lift up, lower down, and then straight out to the sides. Up, down, another 45 degrees, lift up, down, and then straight by the sides of the body, lifting up and down. We'll make our way back up slowly, stopping at each point. We'll do 2 more of those. Going down. And make your way back up. One more time. And release for a moment. And take any counter that you need to, just letting the head rest on the ground, dropping the hands back by the head a little bit. For our next movement, we're going to do something pretty similar. One hand will be by the side, the other will be out in front. We'll reach the arms up and then switch the hands back and forth. Here you can lift the chest a little bit more off the ground. Think about reaching the fingertips away from the shoulder while you do the switch side to side. Try to pull the shoulder blades together while you do it. One more time on each side. And relax. Again, release the shoulders for a moment. Let the head rest on the ground if you need it to. For our next one, we're going to send the right arm straight out to the side. Left hand will come pretty close to the shoulder here. Palm is facing down for both hands. We're going to press into the left hand, lifting up the chest and shoulder, kind of rocking over towards the right a little bit and back down. Starting this one by kind of mobilizing up and down a few times here. And then I want you to bring that right hand up so it's about 45 degrees higher. And we'll do the same movement. Lifting the chest off and dropping it down. Think about trying to keep that right shoulder on the ground if you can. Should be getting a nice stretch through the front of the body or up the bicep. And relax. Make your way over to the other side, sending that left hand out. And begin to pulse, lifting the right chest off the ground. As you get more comfortable with this movement, you can even let the hip follow, so you get a bigger rotation through the shoulders, getting more pressure through that stretch. And then we'll send the arm up about 45 degrees. And the same thing. And relax. Let the head release for a moment. And then for our next one, we're going to send the right arm under and across the body. Bring the chest down to the ground. Left hand will come down, and you can kind of press the left chest towards the arm a little bit here. This is kind of a strange position to do isolated like this, but you might find it similar to threaded needle positions when we're bringing the arm under and across to help stretch through the back of the shoulder. To help intensify that stretch a little bit, I want you to find that left shoulder and almost pull it towards the right hand. So you're pulling it out in this direction here to intensify that stretch some. And releasing that right arm, sending the left arm underneath the body. Getting everything sorted out before you drop that right chest towards the left arm and reach the shoulder towards the fingers. And we'll slowly release, come back out. Resting the head on the ground. We'll make fists with the hands. Arms are in a goalpost position, so we have a 90-degree bend in the elbows. We're going to lift the arms up, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and bring them back down to the mat. Lift and squeeze, and down. Trying to keep the elbows in line with the shoulder joint. We're not dropping down towards the hips as we do these. Let's do about 5 more. And relax. For our next one, we'll keep the hands in a fist position. I want you to keep the elbows on the ground, and then we're going to lift the hands and wrists off and lower them back down. There's not likely a lot of movement that you're going to be able to do for this one. Kind of just that lift, hold for a moment, and back down. You can try isolating it one at a time, seeing if that gets you a little bit better results, or you're able to focus on one or the other a little bit better. Do about 3 more. And then you can release. And then shake those shoulders out if you want to come to a tabletop position, do a little bit of circles with that. And if those felt pretty good for you, I might recommend doing them again. I'll throw a little chapter link in the video for you to go back and do those exercises before continuing on. But for our next position, we're going to come into a kneeling posture. So you can be upright if you want. So for this, I want you to bring right hand to the middle of the upper back. Left hand will come towards the elbow. Here we're almost trying to lift the elbow up and then drop the hand down. We'll hold this position while we breathe deeply here for a little bit. You should feel a nice stretch on the outside of the arm. See if you can make some slow adjustments to deepen that. Really using that left hand to kind of leverage the right arm down. And then we'll release, switch over to the other side. Left palm faces the back, right hand reaches to grab a hold of the elbow. You try to lift the elbow up and then reach that hand further down the back. Here you might even feel the back of the head being able to help by pressing into that left arm a little bit. And slowly release. So for our next stretch, we're going to bring the right hand underneath. So palm is facing away. I like to grab with the left hand around the wrist to kind of draw the elbow closer towards the back. And then I bend more at that hand to grab a hold and lift it. So here, just kind of holding that posture for a little bit. You might press the forearm into the torso some to help open up your right shoulder. And then we'll release. Switching over to the other side, bring the bent elbow behind, drawing it over with the right hand, and then lifting up. So here, you kind of feel the shoulder drop back and press down slightly. You might get some more space for that hand to reach up the back more. And we'll release. And now for the first time, I want you to grab a hold of your band. We'll put it over the right shoulder. So depending on which arm is more of a challenge for you to get behind, so if it's the bottom arm, you're going to want to use the right hand to help lift up the left one, or if it's the top. So we're going to be grabbing a hold of the band here and using that to kind of help draw the fingers closer and closer together over time. Once you're in this position, just kind of want you to hang out here, breathe a little bit, feel the elbows almost trying to pull together behind the back some. And if it's possible for you, you can grab a hold of fingertips instead of that band. And slowly release. Making your way over to the other side. Switching the band if you are using that. Using that support from the opposite arm, whatever one is more challenging for you to get into that position. Breathing deeply once you're in your deepest part of that stretch that's comfortable for you today. And slowly release. Kind of shake the shoulders out. We're going to set the band aside for a little bit. We will come back to it shortly. So for our next little stretch here, I want you to take the right hand. I'm going to internally rotate at the shoulder, bring the back of the hand to the side of the body. Okay, we're not going behind the back, right against the side, torso. Left hand starts at the shoulder, and I want you to think about reaching that shoulder in the direction of the elbow. And then eventually the hand will start to sink closer and closer towards that elbow to help draw the shoulder in that direction and then towards the midline some. So pretty intense stretch, so you might not be able to reach towards the elbow, but you can still kind of work on bringing it in towards that midline. then slowly release and switch over to the other side. And release. Shake out the shoulders some. So there's a few ways that we use the arms in a practice, and most of it becomes a leverage point to help us activate our postures a little bit more effectively. So we find different ways to bind the arms, whether that's together or just into the ground, to bring ourselves deeper into a posture. So our first bind that I want to explore are eagle arms. So this is used in an eagle pose, but sometimes you might find it in some other points in a yoga class. So with your arms out in front, we're going to bring right elbow over top of left. We almost want to think about bringing that right elbow beyond the left. I like to bend the bottom arm first and then the top arm, turning the palms to face towards each other. At this point, you can kind of rock the elbows to kind of squeeze them a little bit closer together. And then we're going to lift the elbows up, if that's possible, and then press the shoulders away from each other. This should give you a nice stretch in the back here. Just hold this one for a little bit. And release. Preparing for the other side. This time left over right. Again, bending that bottom arm and bringing the hands to meet, kind of snugging those elbows closer together. Lifting the elbows up slightly so they're in line with the shoulders, and then reaching them forward. Slowly release, shake it out. And then we can come into a seated position for our next one. You will want to grab a hold of some blocks for this, but you might be able to do it without blocks as well. So for these, I want you to bring the blocks right beside the hips. Remember that we have multiple settings, your low, medium, or high. You want to find what works for you best in this position. We'll keep the legs close together, pressing the hands into the ground. I want you to almost roll the shoulders back, pressing them down to get a nice bend in the elbows. And then we're going to press the hands in, straightening the arms, lifting the hips off the ground. Up and down here a few times. Again, feel free to experiment. What block height do you want? Next time you lift up, hold the position. Feel the shoulders open up, pulling the shoulder blades together slightly. Try to press the hands in more. And slowly lower down. You can release those blocks. Release the shoulders a little bit. Then I want to show you the other bind that we would use in our class. And this can be used in a few different ways. I think the easiest way to start to explore it is in this position. But sometimes we would do it in a lunge position or in a spinal twist when you're all the way wrapped around. But the mechanics of the bind are the same. So when you are in this posture, and choose which leg you want to experiment with this on. We'll try it on both sides, but I recommend your flexible side first. So you want to reach the chest up and forward, and then we're going to try to bring the shoulder blade or the shoulder almost in line with the knee and reach the arm under the body. From this point, you can kind of leverage your way in however it feels appropriate. We bring the hand behind and then reach the other hand to grab a hold of it together. If you can grab, that's great. This is a little bit more challenging of a position, but I just want you to find that turning of the shoulder. What I find starting here works best is that you can get the arm underneath better. When we're in some of our other postures, trying to get that arm under the crease of the knee is going to be more challenging. In other positions, we might be finding this in a lunge. You can try it on the other side, or if you want to try a lunge position, kind of coming up, dropping that shoulder down, swinging it out and under, up over top to grab a hold. Here, the same thing, you would start to work the hands closer together, bringing the shoulder blades closer together, helping you open up the chest. So this bind will be used in spinal twists and those standing postures. So if you want to try it one more time on any version of that, regardless of where you're at, really try to think about dropping the shoulder almost below that knee to be able to swing the hand underneath. Slowly release, landing in a tabletop position. So for our next movement, we're going to be doing a lot through the shoulders in a downward dog position. So we're really focused on upper body for a downward dog. We're thinking about that elevation and depression of the shoulder blades. So when you press up into your downward dog, you can have a nice bend in your knees because we haven't done much lower body stuff here. You're pressing the hands away and dropping the head towards the hand. Back and forth here. We're not bending in the elbows. Just feeling all that movement working through our shoulders. And then I want you to press and hold. Really try to drive the hands into the ground and lift up through the shoulders. When we do this, we're able to drop the chest a little bit more towards the ground, getting us into a little bit of an upper back bend here in our downward dog. You can relax, coming back into a tabletop position, kind of rocking a little forwards and backwards some. And come back into our downward dog, pressing the shoulder away as much as possible. Just holding that posture, breathing deeply. And then coming back to your tabletop position. So there are two movements which we will work on a lot to build strength in the upper body, which is going to be our knees, chest, chin, and our chaturanga. So we're going to do these as push-ups today. In our knees, chest, chin, the posture itself is coming into a cow position and dropping the chest and chin towards the ground and then lifting back up. So I want you to experiment with this a few times. You can play with the difference between keeping the elbows close to the body for knees, chest, chin versus far away from the body, and see how that changes things for you. If upper body is a bit weaker, it's going to be a lot harder for us to get all the way down and press up. So some ways to help you there are to bring a block down so that you have a stop point raising the ground up. Or also just not dropping so far down so that you can find that level that's comfortable for you. Let's do 3 more of these push-ups. And release. You can sit back, roll the shoulders out for a moment if you need to. And we'll prepare for some Chaturanga push-ups with our knees down. Of course, if you want to make these more challenging, you can come into that plank position. But I really recommend starting with the knees down while we isolate what's going on here. So for our Chaturanga, we're bending into the elbows and we're reaching the head forward, depressing through the shoulders so that the ears and shoulders are as far away from each other as they can be. Keeping the elbows really hugged in towards the side. We lower the body forwards and down and press back up. Okay? Breathing deeply. And trying to keep as much space between ear and shoulder as we can. 3 more. And relax. And completely release. We're actually going to make our way up to standing. Grab your band along the way. I'm going to roll the shoulders out a little bit, release them before we start our final few movements here. So with your band out in front, you're going to grab a hold. Further apart is going to be easier, and closer together is going to be more challenging. You want to find that point where you can do this movement, but have the hands as close together as possible. For it, we're going to keep the arms straight, reach the hands away, roll them all the way back and down, and then bring them up and forward. Okay? If you're coming into this position and you start to have to bend one after the other, that means the hands are too close to each other, or you just have really, really tight shoulders, which is also totally fine. If we do have really tight shoulders, what I'd recommend is playing with starting in one direction, so you might start at the bottom, work back to that stuck point, and just kind of pulse into it. And if you're stuck as well, you pulse up to it from the bottom, bringing the hands behind to start. So after a few of these rotations now, I want you to try bringing the hands a little bit closer together. See if you can come all the way back and around and up and forward. We'll do about 3 or 4 more of these. Last one. And relax. You can completely lose your band. We don't need it anymore. Just kind of a few final release movements for us. So we're going to bring right arm across. You can bring forearm bent. It's a nice little stretch here, breathing deeply. And close the eyes some. Feeling the shoulder drop away from the ear. Switching over to the other side. releasing. Our next movement, we'll start with our left hand. Bring the palm to face forward, reach upwards. Once you get to the top, turn the palm away from the body and press it down towards the ground. At the bottom, we'll turn the pinky outwards and then rotate all the way up, forwards, and down. So that 2 more times. Rotating out at the top. Let the palm lead the movement the whole time. Last one on the side. Turn the thumb into the back. And switch it over to the right side. Palm leads forward, up, rotate out, and back. Last one. And release. You can come down into a seated position. Just kind of any clothes that feels appropriate for you. Maybe you're dropping into child's pose for a moment. Wherever you're at, I want you to let the eyes close. Really feel the weight of the shoulder after all that movement. We'll end by chanting a single Om. May you be blessed with radiant joy, peace, prosperity, and abundant health. Om Shanti.